Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and podders. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with another edition of this week's vlog. It's been a great week, although the winter weather here in Pennsylvania is not the greatest, and there is a plan for a winter storm this weekend to come upon us. But things are going well beside that. And I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But to quickly introduce myself, if you haven't been here before, my name is Dustin. I'm a middle-aged man on the spectrum. I was diagnosed in 1998 at the age of 13. I've been living this life, most of my life, I believe, in the spectrum of some form or another, running the acronym alphabet, something like that. Um, I've been living on my own for over 7 years now, and I've had a part-time job for almost 16 of those years. It's hard to believe that anniversary will be coming up here in about a month or so. Also, it's ironic that it's almost the end of the first month of the year. So let's talk about that. So last week we talked about my DoorDash dangers and how I had spent 7 grand in the course of 5 years on the beloved DoorDash app to feed my emotions, my eating habits, just out of boredom and eating, and it really gained up to me. It really came up to me in a way that wasn't really pleasant. And today I had my wellness checkup with my doctor. Everything was going good except there was a little bit of swelling in the leg, and I'm going to have that looked at here with a Doppler thing here in a couple weeks. And I've had that before, and it's dissipated. And the way it dissipates is basically by moving and doing and getting moving. And it's been hard this past week with that, with everything going on. But to get where are today and where we were the past 2 weeks has been or week or so has been a big difference. I have lost 10 pounds just in the past 10 days. And that was done just by following the calorie plan and the things that we do in Weight Loss Support Group. At Weight Loss Support Group, which is known as TOPS, there are several in the States and in Canada. Some online, some virtual, some you can do online, virtual, and in person. And I've been going there since I was 21. But in some reality, it's not that they make you follow a diet. You have to find what works for you. And being a numbers person and good with numbers, as far as counting, adding, subtracting, calories is what works for me. Now, it's about sticking and following to the plan of keeping in those calories. And we know that New Year's resolutions bring things. They bring, people wanting to lose weight, not just from people on the spectrum or people that, that need to. It comes from people from all walks of life. And to get us through to, the time where we need to be in, better is that, the numbers weren't great today. And I mean, the blood numbers were good, but the weight on the scale wasn't good. And I knew that walking in. So I gracefully accepted that. But I also accepted the challenge that I have to do better in the next 6 months. So, that's something that I have to do, and I want to do better because I know I can do it. We've been through all the battles of the mental health issues that we've been facing with just doing what's right, what's of value, and what really matters. And, after almost over 7 years, I finally got to understand to do what I need to do to take care of my mental health. I see it in the people I meet, the people I work with, they tell me I'm doing good. And even my therapist themselves is saying I'm doing good. So it's showing in ways that work with me and shows that I'm doing the right thing. And, part of that is too having that commitment for the next 6 months to really look at the health aspect of it and see that, it's taking care of all realms of our health, both mental and physical, and, being mindful of other categories of our health too. But having both work hand in hand can go a long way in making sure that I am doing the right thing and I am sitting on the right path to go going forward. And I don't think I've ever really had the momentum to see how things have worked. The past, I'd say there was a medication change or more of an increase back I don't know, about 6 or 7 years ago, and I was very reluctant to it. And I don't think we really ever saw it put to fruition as much as it has been in the past month. And we're starting to see the value of that come across, the value of doing the right thing, and the value of what brings the right thing to the table and makes us able to manage life. Now, I know last week we talked about medication a lot and how that helps. But we're going to carry on with that because I said we would. And that medication is not just to take the autism away, it's to deal with the things that go along with it, the anxiety, the other mental health challenges, the things that control impulsivity or irrationality or irritability or anger. It makes those things easier. It takes off the edges. And I can see that both in myself and others can see it too. And I also learned that it is mainly the reason why people are out of institutions and living in the community and able to do the things that they do and live the lives they can have because of the medications that have been provided in today's world to make that possible. It is when people do not take their medications or do things that are pointless and destructive that allow ourselves to see that that is not a healthy choice and that it makes is a bad idea and it sets the path up. And I hopefully will never go down that path again. It is 2026. It is a new year. We're in a clean slate, and I know I cannot do that anymore. I see the damage it does not only in myself, but in others, and it looks pretty scary. And I know for others to see that and know that it is pretty scary. And I want to move away from that narrative. I want to move away from doing the things that are hurtful and harmful to others. And you start doing more of the right thing. And part of that with being on medication is, of course, the side effects. And that is something that I have always felt like it was always the thing that robbed me wrong. It was the thing that I always hated about taking medication. But knowing that medication is going to be here for as long as the lab numbers are good and everything is good, we're going to continue to take the medication as prescribed, as we should. And we're going to work on staying well, being well, getting the weight down, getting the eating the healthy foods, eating a better meal plan, having a better idea of what to put in our bodies, and maybe move a little more increasingly. Now, granted, it's January, and moving isn't always great, and we've been in, and that may be why the leg is swollen and so forth. And but we check those things out, and we tell people our concerns. And I want to commend myself personally. If anybody knows how an autistic person thinks or is fearful of saying what's on their mind when it comes to how things go and knowing what things do, it can be hard to speak up. But my doctor and I have that great rapport of a relationship that I was able to tell them, hey, this is what's going on. My feet is swollen. And she looked at it and she said, we're going to get tests and we're going to see how it goes. But she also put me up to the challenge to lose the weight in 6 months. So we're going to see how that goes. And it's not, I think, the way that I have to approach it this year as opposed to years in the past is that I have to look at things differently. I have to look at things slowly and not go full on in on things. It's not, okay, yeah, you need to go to the gym, you need to move more, but you got to work at getting there, work at taking time, working at building, decreasing the anxiety, getting comfortable being outside, getting comfortable being in the community, getting comfortable at moving more. It's taking the baby steps that you need to do. And I think over the winter, it's so much more important to work on being mindful of what we're putting in our bodies and what we're drinking, what we're eating, those sort of things. That's what matters more than anything. And I know for a fact, I was, like I said last week in last week's vlog, I was eating way too much. And, on those days when we do eat too much and we go over our calorie plan, and yesterday was one of them days, I was not too mindful. I made too many pointless decisions about eating, and it paid for it. And now today I did a little better. I was just a little bit over the calorie limit, but tomorrow is a new day, and we'll start fresh. That's another thing I think that's important, if it's is for me anyway, is when things don't look so great on the scale or the numbers are too high, I'm not going to give up. I know I can't. I know I have to pick myself up. I know I have to keep going. I know I have to do what I need to do and why it matters and why it's important. And seeing that in others too, and that are battling similar challenges or going through things and working and getting that body and not letting my body get out of control because I've ignored it for nearly 30 years is something that's showing now. And I know I have to start to reverse that effect while I still have time left to do that. And it's going to take time. I know that. It's not going to happen overnight. The calculator estimated it to be at about 2 years. So I know that it's for the long haul. It's not going to happen overnight. There are no sudden results. I did say, last week the GLPs and that I didn't want to go about that, if I didn't have to, and I still don't. I want to see if I can lose weight myself and make a difference first before looking at other options to see if it's possible. My doctors think it's possible. I know I can do it. I know I have the tools I need to do it. I know I can do what I need to do. And if people believe in me, then it can happen. And I have to let myself believe that it can happen if I want it to happen. I have so many supportive people in my life, and I know I can do it, and I will. I just have that faith. I will. If there's something that I want to do, and my mind is made up that it's the right thing to do, I will go for it. I will do what's right. I will make the right decisions. I will keep track of everything. I have to keep track of that menu anyway. The thing about it is now I have to stay in those calorie limits and I have to know what I can eat, what I can't eat, what those calorie numbers are. I've always been pretty proficient at knowing what calories are and what the calories are in things and keeping, that in track and keeping that, you know, um, knowing what my calories are in my foods, and it's also getting more away from the fast food, the junk food, those sort of things, and starting to cook more at home, do more things at home, eat more better, and because that too is the right thing. And I know it is, and that's how you solve the problem. Knowing that I spent as much as I did in a DoorDash like I did, I will, that was too much for me. And I know I have to make better choices. And as we shift the narrative from not only including our mental health, but focusing also on our physical health and making wise choices, it's all within our power, within our court to do that. And I will do that within time. I know it will happen. I have to be patient with myself. I have to give myself grace when things aren't the greatest and know that things do happen, but it's not the end of the world. I can pick myself up. I can keep on going and doing the right thing. It's one day at a time, sometimes 1 hour at a time, sometimes getting through the things that I have to go through. So I want to thank you for listening today. Before I go on to close out the episode, I keep getting emails for people to join the blog. I do not do that. I want to devote my time to sharing what my thoughts are, totally on video for myself and only myself to share with my community. And that is for me, and that's my decision. And I would hope that people would honor that decision going forward. It's my time to share my nearly 40 years of expertise. There's over almost 400 episodes now. And I would hope that, if you need something, you would look for that. Where if you need a topic maybe that you think I may have expertise in, you're always more than welcome to drop it in the comments of any of these videos, and I will look into them and give you what experience I can offer on that in a future video or podcast. As always, be sure to follow, like, subscribe to the channel, tap that notification bell for content when it comes in. Be sure to follow me on the internet. That's www.dustisdynastyusa.com. I'm on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, X, and now TikTok at Dustin's Dynasty. Also, I want to thank you before I thank you for listening, you can find everything on Linktree. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty under Linktree. And thank you again. And be sure to have take care of yourselves this weekend. Stay safe and warm out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.